such a nice boy. Look at him. He's painting the chair already. What is that he's painting on the chair? Is that a design? It looks like a cockroach. Here's my son. Ivy League I paid for, and fabric he's pulling like a schlepper. Oh well, he says he enjoys. Those boys, they pull and they paint and they run and they do, and I laugh, and that's why this.
All the world's a stage or a stooge.
My Aunt Helen had one of these in her basement in gold.
Well, you know, a lot of people walk by these, they're thrown out in the trash, and they say, oh, that's junk.
It's a picture frame.
But it is a piece of junk, but we can make it look like something regal, something nice and blue and regal.
Blue and regal.
Blue and regal.
They played Sullivan 63. We're going to make a fantasy finish
called
Azurite.
That's right, which is a copper carbonate.
And when you cut it horizontally, it looks like little concentric circles.
And we can duplicate that using different paints and thinners, which we'll apply on this frame, and then we'll varnish it and polish it, and it'll look like polished stone. So the first thing we're going to do is take a little bit of naphtha with a scrub brush, and I'm just going to clean it, because who knows where it's been sitting. I'm going to get the dirt off of it.
Now see all this junk missing? There's actual parts of the frame missing. It doesn't matter, because if something like this was a stone, it would look irregular.
Yeah, it would chip and wear, and so you utilize what you got.
Now we got a spray can.
I got a spray can of...
Pardon me, I'll take a step back.
White primer. Have I showed this?
Yeah. And my partner, Errol Flynn. Throws his head back in a cavalier manner and laughs. So during the war, was Himmler a nice guy?
Oh, very nice. I mean, I didn't know him.
Look at this color.
This is ultramarine blue.
Ultramarine. Jean-Claude Van Damme was in that movie, the Ultramarine.
An officer in an ultramarine. You can't buy this color. You got to buy a special order this from a woodworking supply catalog. They sell different kinds of stains. This is called a universal color, and it's made for coloring lacquers and varnishes. And it's a beautiful, beautiful cobalt, ultramarine blue.
Okay.
So we're going to mix this with some paint thinner,
and
a little bit of Japan dryer.
Very tiny.
And we'll mix it in a nice little jar. Put that in there.
That helps it dry. And some
paint thinner.
And now the second coat.
First coat.
Second coat coming up.
First coat of foundation color.
With the second coat of paint.
Yes, but first coat of color. Got that now?
Mm-hmm. There, sure.
What are you doing?
It's a palm tree scene.
It is? Wait, let me make it very tropical. Here, look. Birds.
Boy, everything we do works out so well. You would think. Except we made a little mistake on this.
Remember we put on that blue right out of the can?
With a brush?
Was the universal color. Well, see,
wrong.
When we get stuff, we had the cans taped, so you can't read what they are. But on the back was the directions, and we didn't realize that what that was actually a tinting agent for paint. So what I did was...
What you really had to do is add that universal color...
To paint.
And thin it.
Well, you add it to paint.
Add it to paint to make it a blue.
Right. So I took some of that blue, and I put some white paint into a bottle with some naphtha, and you get a spray, see? And that's what I put on.
Because when we put it on straight from the can, it took about, 3 days to dry.
Oh, it didn't dry at all.
Or it would have taken maybe a week to dry. It would have dried after a while.
Right. So what we did was we took 3 jars right here. 1, 2,
and 3.
3.
Made out of that universal color.
That's this blue with a little more white. This has less white. Now we take the dark blue, and we're going to coat the piece. Once again.
Markings can be applied on over wet paint.
Remember, they're like little circles, so what we're going to do actually is spatter
Or splatter.
Or splatter the paint onto the surface.
To create the random look.
This is paint thinner. Now I'm going to take some of this light color. Take some of the dark blue.
Not too hard now. Let's introduce another color, shall we?
I'm going to introduce some black. The vastness of space. Take some of this dark. I'm just going to drop circles in there.
See how all the colors are
All running together.
running together to create a real mess. I like it a mess, you know what I mean?
Once this sets up a little bit, you want to go around the circles with a thinner brush.
And even thinner, like a number one.
You want to draw little concentric circles around the circles that are already there. But this has got to set up because the circles will just bleed into the rest of the paint.
Now all the lovely Azurite details have been painted in.
Yes,
However,
they have.
The wood does not have a bright, shiny finish like the real stone.
Well, if you remember, I said sometimes they put on varnish coats up to 20 coats. Well, this has got literally about 10 coats of varnish on.
So now we're going to do the final rub out in 3 steps. The can of the wool lube, which is
Remember
the jelly.
the wool lube?
Oh, jelly, awful looking stuff, but it's rather tasty.
But there's no fruit in this Jell-O.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to rub.
Next, now you
Rotten
can use
stone.
pumice, which is a light abrasive, but we're using rotten stone, which
No.
is decomposed limestone, round and
with the
crumbled,
rotten stone, I'm
with
going
a
to
little
use
bit of cumin in it.
a scrub brush.
Next, a cream polish used on many cars.
It's a car polish.
The car polish.
And we'll just rub this on.
Okay, just brush that. You know, I got a pair of brogans for you after when you're done here.
I don't do this anymore. I didn't do this when I was a kid.
Like a big...
Even then, I had money.
But in wood shop, you always made the shoe shine box. Very simple.
Yeah, thrown out of wood shop,
With a
didn't
big well.
That's the finished product.
Ugh.
Oh, good.
And
From beginning to end, here we are.
Go to a mall, get yourself made up like Civil War characters, and then put yourself in a frame like this.
I'd like to put you in a frame like this.
Mm-hmm.
In a box.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thanks.
That's all right. They like me better. That's all right. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. And speaking of forever, I'm going to be upholstering next.
This program is brought to you in part by Rainsoft Water Treatment Equipment.
Want to use lots less soap? Then you'd better call your Rainsoft water treatment dealer today.
Our friend Ronnie
And her husband?
they just moved into a new house.
They have great taste.
We wanted to get them something really, really nice.
So naturally, we went to Pier 1.
Find the good things you're looking for at Pier 1 Imports. For a change.
You can project light in any direction, but unless it's focused, you can't see clearly. That's why Infinity employed special projector beam headlights for the J30 to safely focus light where you need it. The J also has dual airbags, ABS, and seatbelt pre-tensioners, but you're less likely to need them if you see the light.
the human zoo. And the biology of love. Desmond Morris's The Human Animal, Saturday beginning at 8 on TLC.
From planting a garden to building a deck.
Everything you need to know to get the job done right.
It's a full day for the do-it-yourselfer. Home Improvement's Debbie Dunning is here.
So join me for TLC's Home Project Day.
Monday beginning at noon.
We are going to continue with our 50s chairs, the upholstery part of it anyway. Remember last time we covered the springs with burlap, covered the burlap with cotton batting, covered the cotton batting with the white muslin you see now. What's next? Actually upholstering. And we picked out the fabric that we most adore. And here it is. It's a repeated pattern. It's actually the EKG of when you lie. This is when I talk to you, it looks like this. When I tell you how easy all this is what my heart is actually doing. Here's the old fabric or leather as it was, and we're going to use that as our template. If you don't have the old piece, there's always on the inside back and inside seat, there's always going to be a tail like this. Is it going to be stuffed into the space in between the back and seat and attached to the frame. Get a good scissors, because I see people cutting fabric with like cuticle scissors, and it just wastes so much time. You want a nice big pair of upholstery shears, and you don't want those poultry ones, or those paltry ones, because then everything you sit on smells like a chicken, and you know how embarrassing that could be. Now, a most technically difficult, yet challenging part. How to get this fabric through this tiny little space. On manufactured goods, very often they will put strings, cording on both ends, shove that through, and pull it. You can work this fabric through with something thin and flat, like Kate Moss, or a paint scraper, perhaps. But what I've done is I'm making my own little string tail that I'm going to attach to this fabric and then pull through. I've got this thread on my curved needle, and I've worked that through, and the other end is hanging out the back. And what I'll do is I'll just make a couple stitches through here and tie it. So now I'm going to pull through. I'll flip it over, and we'll see if it works. And you see as it peaks? It fell off, but it's okay, it's there. It's there. We've pulled this through, and now we'll staple right to the frame along here. See how these stripes line up? With a lot of fabric. We put a staple in the middle. With a lot of fabric, you wouldn't be able to line this stuff up. But luckily, with a repeating...
Because this has a pattern.
Yeah.
Has a line kind of effect.
With a repeating pattern, it will help you.
So you have a guide.
Mm-hmm. You want to make sure that there aren't any puckers here. And there aren't.
Looks good.
Yeah, I think so. And then we'll flip up, and we'll staple under here. Our attack formation is simple. We're going to work down on the side here. Remember, the boomerangs are going to obscure the side, so as long as you get it pretty to here, you're home free. The thing I do want is some cotton batting at the ready in case when you pull, if you're getting a valley or anything you don't want because you want it to be nice and smooth, you're going to have to stuff some of this in here. I'm going to stuff some in here right now because down here I'm pulling and I feel just the sharp edge of wood, and I don't want that because eventually it will wear through. So I just stuff that in, and I begin to tack.
You're going to begin tacking from the bottom?
Oh, yeah. From the front, that's fine.
What about, I thought it was always tacking in the middle, when you start in the middle here.
No, tacking in the middle is on front and back. With this, as long as I work it carefully and make sure that all the stripes are lined up, I can come from the middle, or the front, or the front, or the middle. Okay, and I'll begin to make my folds right here. It'll be fine. You can do this with tacks. You don't need to do it with a staple gun, except it takes a long time with tacks.
Can't do it with glue, though. Put a staple in there.
Put a staple in there. Smooth it down. And I'm sighting up these stripes because I don't want sine curves.
You don't want them undulating.
Hey, look, it's a mess in there.
It is. You got to cut that. What's all this stuff gathered up here?
I like it a mess.
Yeah.
All right, because we can't pull this out and make this tight without showing a whole bunch of junk. We've got to make what is known as the release cut.
A neat release cut.
A neat release cut, because we want to pull this, have this hunk of fabric end right there, because the other hunk of fabric on the back is going to come down here. You know that other guy from Montreal? He goes like that. So sometimes you need to make a few release cuts. Sometimes you can just rip it up like that. Don't worry about a thing. We don't need this. We can tuck that in there. See this? Still bunching. So we make another.
Cut again.
Remember, we don't want to cut up above here. See how I'm folding?
Spindle and mutilating, I think.
If you've got a whole bunch of material like I had before and you folded it, it would make a big lumpy thing.
Make a big.
It would make a bigness. That's what we want.
Now
Make
we want a
that
staple.
fold. Yes, we do.
Next show, we'll finish the upholstery. But after the break, Joe will be executing merrily dancing rhomboids on the chair arms.
Corporate America is a fishbowl where you're always under a watchful eye. At least with the Stafford collection from JCPenney, you know you'll always look your best. Whether you're seen in tailored suits and wrinkle-free dress shirts or classic sport coats and trousers. And while business is watching you, Stafford lets you keep an eye on your bottom line. The Stafford collection. It could change the way business sees you.
JCPenney.
Welcome to Thomasville, where this Memorial Day you'll find elegance and timeless craftsmanship at once-in-a-lifetime prices. The Thomasville Memorial Day Sale. Extraordinary furniture, extraordinarily priced. Call now for details, because after May 27th, this sale will only be a beautiful memory. Thomasville. Make yourself at home.
Black & Decker has just made jobs around the house a lot easier to do with the VersaPack interchangeable battery system. With VersaPack, you get more for your money because one set of rechargeable batteries powers over 20 different Black & Decker cordless tools. VersaPack from Black & Decker. It's how things get done.
Get ready for how-to advice from the ground up on the Renovation Guide, coming up next. Then, double your knowledge, double your fun with back-to-back episodes of Home Time. It's all next right here on TLC.
TLC takes you inside the electrifying world of the urban ER. Blazingly brilliant, graphic and gripping. It's not for the faint-hearted. Trauma, life and death in the ER, Wednesday at 10 on TLC. Viewer discretion is advised.
It set the standard in do-it-yourself books. But now, we've made the best even better. Introducing the all-new Home Repair and Improvement series from Time Life Books. With new color illustrations, step-by-step instructions, and a new spiral binding so books lay flat. It's never been easier to save money and create the home you've always wanted. You'll learn how to build a deck your family will enjoy for years. The tricks of the trade to install a new patio. Call now to examine decks, porches, and patios, free for 15 days. Keep it for the special low TV price of just $1.99. Use your credit card and get this Stanley tape measure absolutely free. Other volumes will follow. Keep only those you want. The new Home Repair and Improvement series from Time Life Books. We've made the best even better.
Call 1-800-795-5588 now to get decks, porches, and patios for just $1.99. That's 1-800-795-5588.
Ah, greetings, Gats. Let's decorate.
We're back to the chair. We're going to use some masking tape, some of this paper tape. It's got one gummed edge.
Like you.
Like you. And it's got some
I said
masking
it first.
tape.
We've already done the inside.
Yeah.
Some parallelograms, some trapezoids.
That's right. We'll go around this way now. I'm going to lean over here. This tape is great. Sticks on one. And that I'm making little funny squares there.
Yeah, do they have to be straight across? No, because this is a wild and wacky thing.
Making them parallelograms. Kind of like a chair you might see in Caligari, the cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Or Memphis.
Kind of a Memphis style.
Now, did we shake?
Yeah.
We shook lots off camera. Black.
Go with the white.
White.
We'll get the rhythm. Remember which hand you got the things in.
Now you go black again.
Kind of dry there.
Yeah, you got to wait for a full few minutes for this to dry, I think. So that is an aqua color. That just so happens to be running through the fabric that we're putting on the body of the chair.
Everybody can write in and tell us if they like this.
The designs are dry, these little tangles up in blue.
Tangles?
Tangles up in blue, and we're varnishing.
I'm putting on a clear semi-gloss
furniture varnish. Not a spar.
Not a spar, because a spar is an amber color, and you put it on, it's going to change the color of the wood and your designs, and it's going to look yellow.
This is also going to give it a nice gloss, which is a nice 50s look. They shot a lot of coatings back then.
Well, I'm going to put a second coat on top of this, and then rub it out with some steel wool, and then put probably a automotive wax on it.
I love the view from here.
My favorite part of the show.
The end?
Right. Yeah,
Letters.
we get to read letters.
Please send us letters, because it's a nice substitute for pay. And we love to answer them, and here we go.
Let's not make this a mini-series now.
Dear Joe and Ed, I watch your show faithfully, and I love it. It's from Maureen Schuerman of Milburn, New Jersey. I have a very old desk with spindle legs. One spindle has...
An old aunt with spindle legs.
Yes, Aunt Nicky, right?
Uh-huh.
One spindle has a crack in the middle.
Like Aunt Nicky.
Okay, in the middle. How can I repair it? Okay, now it's time to go to the wonderful three-dimensional... This is a hologram. Let's say this is your spindle leg, Maureen, and you have to take it apart, because if it's a load-bearing leg, if it's cracked all the way through, and I assume it's that bad, you can get somebody to turn a brand new leg and install it, or you can put a dowel in it. Now you can take it apart and drill holes just like the lead is in here, and put a vertical dowel.
A big one.
Yeah, and glue, clamp, and that should help the load-bearing qualities of your table. It puts lead in your pencil,
Okay.
someone said, and but who cares if you have nobody to write to?
I'd like to read one now.
Go ahead.
Any time left? Yes. This one is from Jana Schilder, a new fan from Toronto, Ontario.
Oh, beautiful.
Got that.
Mighty pretty country up there.
Dear Papa, I started watching your show 2 months ago, blah, 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 blah. I have a prized 1920s inlaid burl mahogany credenza. And a horrible recent domestic accident, a goat ran around the living, there is a 4.5-inch long and a half-inch wide scratch that cuts through the French polish and goes all the way down to the wood grain on top of the credenza. So she's got a scratch in the top of the credenza. Is this something that I can fix on my own? If not, how should I go about finding a qualified shop? Well, if it's got a nice French polish finish on it and it's got a scratch, I wouldn't try fixing it myself if you don't know how to do French polishing, which involves using a cloth with a piece of wool that's soaked in shellac wrapped inside of it, and you use pumice and oil, and it's a figure-8 motion that you rub over the top, applying oil to the pad, and you do maybe 60 or 70 different coats, and each time you're grinding the surface and polishing it. And if you can't do it, I wouldn't try. So I would go to a bookstore, a how-to bookstore, ask them for some finishing books where you can find samples of French polishing, or look in the phone book if you want somebody to repair it for you. Look under furniture, under refinishing, and find somebody who's qualified in doing French polishing repairs.
And I went on.
Anyway, I want to show you this one. We like this. Look at this. Lovely little drawing.
Laura Hasiuk.
And she writes to us, I would like to give this to the guys on Furniture on the Mend. I drew it watching the show. Love, Laura Hasiuk. Well, Laura, we're sending you a photo.
Questions we like, comments, fawning is best.
Even drawings. You want to draw us? Show us how foolish we look.
So next time on Furniture on the Mend, we'll be dealing with furniture and we'll be mending it. I'm Ed Feldman.
And I'm Joe Lorario. Be nice to your furniture.
Furniture on the Mend. I gave them that name, you know. But do they call? I would drop dead if they call. But when a voiceover they want, then they call. Fine, sure, okay. And now they'll drive me home and that will be it. Not a lunch, not a thank you, nothing.